Here we have the quotient rule that we are going to use to help us simplify these division problems or these fractions that have the same base and different exponents. So basically our rule here at the top right is that if we have the same base, then we can basically subtract the exponents of that base. So in this one here, we have x to the power of 7 over x to the power of 5, which we take 7, subtract 5, and we get x to the power of 2. In this one here, we end up getting x to the power of 6 over x to the power of negative 2. So we're really doing 6 minus a negative 2. And when we subtract a negative, it's like adding a positive. So we end up getting x to the power of 8. Then we have negative 3, x to the power of negative 3 over x to the power of negative 2. Again, we are subtracting a negative 2, which is like adding a positive. So that ends up giving us x to the power of negative 1. Can't have a negative exponent, so what we're going to do is we're going to throw that in the denominator here because x to the power of negative 1 just gives us 1 over x. Next, we have x to the power of 2 over x to the power of 8. Again, we are going to end up getting a negative exponent here because 2 minus 8 is negative 6. So that really we should rewrite as 1 over x to the power of 6 because the negative exponent makes it put into the denominator. Now this one, here's where it gets tricky since we have two pieces here. I'm actually going to separate this multiplication into two different pieces where I say 2 over 4 times x to the power of 3 over x. Now I can kind of simplify these one at a time. I know 2 over 4 simplifies to 1/2, and x to the power of 3 over x, that is like saying x to the power of 1 on the bottom there. Now I can use what we know about this one here, 3 minus 1, which is 2. So I get x to the power of 2. And that's the same thing as saying x to the power of 2 over 1. So then I can kind of multiply across here to get x squared over 2 as my most simplified version of this one here. Next up, we have 8 over 4 and x to the power of 2 over x to the power of 5. So I'm splitting this up here. X to the power of 2, x to the power of 5. Run out of room here, so let's see if I can erase some of this here. So I split these up because I'm dealing with things like these two numbers here. I can simplify 8 over 4 as 2 over 1. And then I'm going to simplify this part here by using my quotient rule by subtracting the two exponents. 2 minus 5 is x to the power of negative 3 over 1, or I could also say 2 over 1 times 1 over x to the power of positive 3, which gives me my final answer here of 2 over x to the power of 3. Next up, we have this one here, which is a lot of numbers. I'm going to go ahead and do this below here. So I'm going to split it up 16 over 2, x to the power of 3 over x to the power of 5, y to the power of 6 over y to the power of 3. So now 16 over 2 ends up simplifying to 8 over 1. X to the power of 3 over x to the power of 5 simplifies to 1 over x to the power of 2. And y to the power of 6 over y to the power of 3 gives me y to the power of 3. Now I'm going to multiply all of these together to get my final answer here of 8y to the power of 3 over x to the power of 2. And that is all of my practice problems using the quotient rule to help us understand the exponent rules.